Today, we are diving deep into the powerful, challenging, and honestly, life-altering ideas of the great American philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson. Let's get right into it. You know, in the middle of all the noise of modern life, there's that quiet inner voice, right? That gut feeling you often just push aside for whatever seems more practical or what everyone else is doing. Well, Emerson built his entire philosophy on the radical idea that this voice is the only one that truly matters. And this, right here, is the absolute foundation of his thought. It's the one idea that holds everything else up, the command to trust yourself. And not just, sometimes, but completely, without any reservation. With this single sentence, Emerson just completely redefines what genius is. See, it's not about having some sky-high IQ or being smarter than everybody in the room. No, it's about having the courage to trust your own inner conviction, your intuition, so deeply that you realize it's tapping into a universal truth. It's basically the ultimate antidote to imposter syndrome.
He saw this constant battle going on inside all of us between these two distinct voices. On one side, you've got society, all the pressures from tradition, social media, you name it, demanding that you conform. And it rewards you with what he brilliantly called the foolish face of praise. But on the other side, you've got your authentic inner voice. And Emerson's challenge is as relevant today as it was then. Which one are you going to listen to?
And this quote, wow, it just shows you how radical he really was. This is not some gentle suggestion to be yourself. This is a fierce declaration of independence. I mean, to actually write whim on your doorpost, that means you're prioritizing that inner spark of genius above all other obligations and expectations. That's what true self-reliance looks like.
Okay, so if our own mind is the source of genius, you have to ask, where do its ideas come from in the first place? For Emerson, the answer wasn't in some dusty library or a lecture hall. No, it was all around us, in nature. For him, nature was the ultimate teacher.
This is such a powerful idea. True understanding, real insight. It doesn't come from just looking at something from a distance. It comes from a deep, empathetic connection. To really draw the tree, you have to feel what it's like to be the tree. You have to kind of merge with its nature.
And once he had this insight, Emerson started seeing this blueprint everywhere. He argued that so much of what we think of as human creation wasn't really original at all. Those low, strong arches you see in a cathedral, he said their origin was right there in a winter pine grove. And the mythical thunderbolt of a god like Jove, that's just a direct copy of summer lightning flashing across the sky.
So what this all really boils down to is a simple but pretty mind-blowing idea. We don't really invent things, we discover them. For Emerson, all the patterns, the forms, the archetypes, they're already out there in the natural world. Our so-called genius is just our ability to open our eyes and finally see them. All right, so if the universe is this giant source of truth and form, how does it all work? What are the rules? Well, this brings us to one of Emerson's coolest concepts, compensation. It's this idea of a perfect, self-correcting justice that's literally built into the fabric of reality. Think of it like spiritual physics, okay? For every single action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, and it happens right now, not later. This isn't about some future reward in heaven or punishment in hell. It's an immediate, inescapable law. The universe, in his view, always balances its books. So this is the tough side of that law. The consequence of a bad act isn't some separate thing that happens to you later. Nope. It's an ingredient that's baked right into the act itself. The punishment is like this bitter fruit that was always secretly growing inside the flower of that wrongful pleasure. You just can't have one without the other.
But here's the beautiful flip side. The law works for good, too. Every single disadvantage you have comes with a corresponding advantage. Every weakness you think you have is actually the seed of a unique strength. It's like the universe balances the scales by making your struggles the very source of your power.
And this is probably his most beautiful metaphor for the whole idea of compensation. You have the oyster's wound, its irritation, its weakness, and that is the very thing that forces it to create something of incredible value and beauty, a pearl. Your hardships, your wounds, those are your opportunities to create your own pearl.
So let's put it all together. If you trust yourself, and you learn from nature, and you understand this law of compensation, what's the result of all that? It's the development of what Emerson called character, this invisible, silent force that actually shapes the reality around you.
Character isn't just, a list of your good qualities. Emerson saw it as a real, tangible energy, a reserved force. It's the quiet power you radiate that influences people and events without you even trying. You could almost call it the gravity of your being.
The thing is, you can't fake it, and you can't hide it. Your character is always broadcasting who you truly are. You can say all the right things, do all the right things, but your essence, your core, is constantly emitting what he calls a breath of virtue or vice that everyone around you can sense.
And this is how character really plays out over time. If you look at your life day to day, it might seem like a totally chaotic series of zigs and zags. But if you could zoom out and see it from a distance, the life of a person with strong character has a clear path. Their core tendency, their character, unites all those messy moments into one straight, purposeful line.
Emerson didn't just pull this idea out of thin air. He looked to history for proof. He pointed to figures like George Washington or the writer Schiller and argued that, yeah, their documented achievements were great, but they didn't fully explain their massive influence. He believed there was something more there, a latent power, a personal gravity. In other words, their character made their reputation far bigger than just the sum of their actions.
So what does this all mean for us, right here, right now? Emerson's work isn't just some philosophy to admire from a distance. It's a direct, personal challenge to every single one of us.
I mean, just listen to the immense potential he saw in every person. You are not just some random collection of atoms. You are an idea, a unique word that has become a physical being, literally born with a purpose.
And yet, here's the great human tragedy according to Emerson. We all sense this divine idea inside of us, but we're ashamed of it. We're afraid of what people will think. So we conform, we doubt ourselves, and we end up only ever expressing half of who we truly are.
And so the question Emerson leaves us with is this one. If you were to stop being ashamed, if you were to fully, completely trust that inner voice and express it faithfully, what unique word, what divine idea do you represent?